Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Between a Pot and a Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I am, as always, Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, I'm sometimes Stephen Colton. Sometimes I'm somebody else. But yeah, I wanted to go off and first of all, throw this up again. Betty White, God, 99 years old.
Right. It's crazy that here she is. She lives to be 99 years old, and here we are. We're still mourning that she didn't live longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing I heard that she had a career that lasted 70 years. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
She had her own show before I Love Lucy. And so, again, talk about a lady who, when they call her a pioneer, they're not kidding.
And I saw a meme online. I'm sure you've probably seen it too. And I didn't want to share it because I'm like, okay, I don't know. I can't decide if it's tasteless or not, but it's funny. It's cute. Like Betty White realizes she's not going to be able to play with Legos next year. So she's like, well, I've done everything I can do. Might as well, go ahead and call it a day.
I would like to believe that Betty White has poked fun at herself enough over the years that one meme like that wouldn't bother her at all.
I wouldn't think so, but I was like, well, maybe not show it, but we can mention it because I would not want to live in a world where I wasn't legally allowed to play with Legos either.
Right. Or I would probably talk to the Lego people and make sure that they change the number on the box. Like,
hey, how's it going?
Hey, welcome.
Oh,
you got my book.
It was really awesome.
Good. Thank you for buying it. I know this is a shameless plug time. I don't talk about my books a whole lot. I am a published author and published poet, and the book that he's referring to here is the book Sorry or Oh, Did I Offend You?
Yes, that's the one I have.
Yeah, and it's great, especially it's number one, it's short. If you don't like long books, it's also a book that really talks about having the courage, the heroic courage to speak your truth. If you like pop culture, if you like superheroes like we do, there's a lot of that in there too. So anyway,
it's nice.
Check it out. That's shameless plug time over.
Hey,
but hopefully you enjoy the book. Thank you for the support. I really do appreciate that.
I don't want to thank anybody for joining us because I know we kind of switched gears this week. We're normally on Sundays and we're on Tuesday tonight. But it worked out. I think it felt weird at first. It's like, it's Tuesday. What do I got to do tonight? Nothing. Oh yeah.
Well, it worked for me because I'm off until the 10th. That's when we go back to school. So it wasn't a problem for me. I think the only issue that I had today was that I had my booster shot today, and kind of typical experience with the booster. I had it, kind of felt a little bit lightheaded and tired, took a nap, woke up, and I'm fresh. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Glad this has worked out.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad that you didn't go crazy or get like any kind of weird mutant evil powers.
It was touch or go there for a little bit, almost became a zombie, and thankfully that didn't happen. So,
although that would have been an entertaining podcast, like
brains.
Be like Cobra Kai, no mercy.
Now I feel bad that I didn't become a zombie.
Yeah, and then I would have had to go on and get a booster so I could become like a hero to fight. We would fight each other, and then by the end of the year, we would go back to like being all friendly and things, and it would have been a great storyline. But maybe next time.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to settle for being fully vaccinated.
Another little tribute I wanted to throw out is Robert Bruce. A lot of people probably don't know who he is, or if you do, then that's awesome too. He was on the AMC Comic Book Men series that ran for, gosh, how many episodes? I want to say it was like almost 100 episodes. But this is an actual image from when he was on the show. And that's connected to, Comic Book Man was set in Kevin Smith's comic book store in New Jersey, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. And yeah, I never knew the guy personally. We had been friends on Facebook for a little while, and I would send him a message like, hey, how much is like this action figure worth? Or whatever. Because, if you're not familiar with Comic Book Men, it's a show kind of like, oh no, now they're all falling over. Great. I just caused an avalanche of my action figures. Oh well. I'll fix them later. It's okay, guys. You'll be fine. But it was a show kind of like Pawn Stars, but with comic books and stuff. So people would come in like, oh, I have this rare toy from 1960, whatever. And then there were a few occasions where like, we don't know how much this is worth. Let's call Rob in. And then he would come in and be like, well, that's worth about $10,000. We'll give you $8,000 for it. Oh no, it's worth 10. He just said, like, that whole thing. And that was great. And his son has actually started a GoFundMe because this guy, he has such a crazy amount of collections that he has personally, and handling all of this stuff, debts, finding out like, what are we going to do with all this stuff, like storage units, all this and that. So, and they're raising funds for that. And I wanted to share that fundraiser. I know I don't really think you can, like I said before, you can't really click links. So this is probably going to be some really long link, but I'm not going to throw it up on the screen. But if you're on the comments, go through the comments section here and look if you could share. I also posted it to our Facebook group. If you can't donate anything, that's fine. But you can share the what is it called? Fundraiser. I forgot the word that quick. You can share the fundraiser, and it would help us family out a lot. They're already an impressive amount. It's just in the last couple of days, but I think that would be great. Yeah. And I just wanted to throw that out there because he was a cool guy. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I wasn't close with him, but I would message him occasionally, hey, you're that guy from the thing, right? Like, yeah. How much is this doll worth? And that was kind of the basic overview of like how I knew him, but I know a lot of other people were closer to him and knew him, a lot more. And
right.
It's just sad.
Even though we don't know him personally, I think that, he dedicated his life to pop culture and
yes.
and comic books and superheroes and toys and that kind of thing. And I feel like we at least can kind of respect the work that he put into, what he cared about.
And the knowledge that the man had about anything. He would post regular pictures of flea markets, auctions, anything, or he could get these collectibles and comic book shows, toy shows, all this stuff. And the guy knew an insane amount about pretty much any kind of like, not just toys. He was known as the toy guy on Comic Book Men, but so much more than toys. Pop culture, anything. Movie posters. Oh, that poster was printed in 1972. That's a fake. That's a reprint. This is the first run. Like, he knew so much. And I respected that. I know it's silly, but it's like, if you can, like, just being able to know that much information about any one thing is impressive. And to be able to pull it out like, I know this, I know that, that one's this, that one's that. And it was pretty close to his like evaluations of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes him a hero in my book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this week, our main topic is going to be Cobra Kai, because I binged every episode.
So
in one day.
What are we watching again? Or what?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Oh man, I was gonna go like I'm punching you, but I did the wrong hand. Jeez. I don't have much. Hold on a minute while I get my shirt. No. I would have to go through my clothes and find it.
See, here was the thing. I was certain that today you were going to wear your Cobra Kai shirt.
Yeah, I had planned on it originally, back when we first knew Cobra Kai was coming on. I said, when we go to talk about that show, I'm going to wear my Cobra Kai shirt. It's going to be amazing. But then I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And I thought less and less about it. And then when we switched days, I completely forgot about it. But I think it's kind of nice because you're Cobra Kai and I'm not Cobra Kai. So now we're enemies, and now that's the tone of the show.
You're like Eagle Fang before they got the T-shirts.
Yeah, I'm just Lost Johnny drunk in an alley.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Or just Daniel. Or, I don't know. Maybe there's another one that comes out. And I'm one of the random karate schools that was in the tournament that you barely know. Like,
right.
Like Valley Junior or whatever. Bill. I don't know. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We are also talking about Daredevil, which I've watched almost every episode of season 1. I have 2 episodes left, and it's a lot better than I thought it would be.
I don't know what you've been waiting for, frankly. Number one, it's been out for a while. Number two, it is. I'm just going to say it. One of the best Marvel TV series shows that's out there. So, yeah, and it's really one of the. Sometimes you get shows where they've got an amazing season, like Arrow or like Supergirl, and then the seasons that follow it are never quite as good as season number one. That's not the case with Daredevil. Like all 3 seasons are equally good. So,
and I can't wait till we like break that down a little bit more.
Yeah,
but I want to go through some of these Facebook posts that we've been doing every week
for
the last several weeks, and we've got quite a few. So we probably will get through most of them or all of them, because I mean that's really the 3 main topics today: is Cobra Kai, Daredevil, and then this. So yeah, and we've got like a couple of people in our group that we can always rely on to post stuff, and it's like 3 or 4 key names, and
they are pretty amazing, aren't they?
They are, and of course there's others too, but I mean these people always they're always there to lend an image, a meme, or whatever. But we're gonna start off here. Speaking of Betty White, I mean that's just really going over what we've already discussed. Kay writes, I didn't think I could hate 2021 more until now. An icon, a legend in life, a comical genius, a true feminist, humanist. I was almost going to say humanitanist. I was like, wait a minute, what? An inspiration, Betty White, you will forever be missed. Rest in peace. And I mean, it's crazy. 99 years old. And, you know, I believe I've read other, not stories, but articles and things where going all the way back to her assistant saying that she just kind of died peacefully at home, like natural causes, like nothing. It wasn't some big conspiracy like COVID. No, it wasn't COVID. Like, it was nothing. It was just, you know, she was done. And if I could choose the way to, I don't know, it's kind of morbid to think about, like, if I could pick how I die. But, I mean, what better way than to be, you know, old and in decent health for your age, you know, just, you're done. I think that's great.
I agree with you. I mean, you know, it's never easy to lose somebody, right? Whether they're a celebrity or whether they're somebody that you are close to in your family, but to go peacefully at home, you know, in your sleep, you know, that's a blessing. So,
absolutely. And then we've got this is a funny one. Look at me. I am the first MCU film now. I know people like started not really arguing but debating with each other in the post. Like, no, not really, because this. I'm like, if you really think about it, it is, because as far as the timeline goes, I know it's a different universe, but it being tied together in any sort of timeline order, that Spider-Man was the first of those movies, of any of those movies. So I think, you know.
Right. And then it's, you know, with Bully Maguire.
Yes. So, Betty was a superhero. She
was a superhero.
She was a hero, yeah. I'm disappointed that we never got to see Betty White in like an Expendables or something, like see a 99 or 100-year-old Betty White going through like with a machine gun or something.
I think the only time when Betty White was not a superhero was when she was in Lake Placid.
Yeah. I mean, even then, she's a hero. Maybe not a superhero yet. She didn't get bit by the spider yet, but
maybe to giant crocodiles, but not to.
Okay, where we're at here? Oh my gosh, so many posts. Happy New Year from the Pelvic Sorcerer Supreme. I was trying to get that straight, but I couldn't get it out straight.
Right.
And with Guardians of the Galaxy, I've been doing so much lately. I've been playing the video game, the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, and I'm most of the way through. It's a fairly new game, and it's really great. If you like the characters and you're into video games, it's a great game. The voice actors are all different. It's not based on the movies or anything, but it's still a great game. It's so much fun. You're playing mostly as Star-Lord, and then there's the story elements where you're going through in present day with on the ship and everything, and then it has flashbacks to his childhood, him as a teenager, and it kind of cuts back and forth until like kind of those moments kind of meet at one point, and it's super awesome game. And then I went back and watched Guardians of the Galaxy, the first film, over the last week or two. I forgot how great that movie was.
They're fantastic.
And the second one I'm probably going to watch again soon. But
I feel bad that I had not really been familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy prior to the movies.
I hadn't either.
But to think about how integral those movies were to what happened, with Thanos and with Infinity War and Endgame, they really kind of bridged the gap between, the Asgardians and the aliens and Thanos and the Earth. I love it, and I think they really bring a needed kind of humorous element.
They really do. Marvel as a whole kind of has that humor to it, but
they do.
Guardians, what is their Legends of Tomorrow or whatever? And
I think that they're what Legends of Tomorrow could be, right? I think ultimately they're a bunch of misfits, but it's almost like they're friends on a starship. That they're just, they're having a good time. They're singing, rock ballads and
gosh, the soundtracks are so good.
Yeah, the music is almost better than the movie itself.
They really, I mean, I could have just as much fun listening to those songs.
It's
and the video game's no different. The video game has quite a few of some of those original songs, and that's where projects like that get so expensive.
Oh yeah,
these like usage rights for these songs are thousands and thousands of dollars. Each song could be like $20,000 to $50,000 at least,
right?
Just to use it once for like 10 seconds. It's like,
but I really do believe that the music for Guardians of the Galaxy is it really does tie importantly into the theme and the idea of the movie.
Definitely. And going on, this one's a little bit longer, but it's okay again. Gosh, that's one of those ones that are so small I can't read. I should have blown it up a little bit. Okay. This is from like around Hawkeye, which we talked about last week. He's like, Barton hated it. He's like, yet you still brought me to here. I won't judge till I see it with my own eyes, and I can do this all day. And then they both hate it. And that's the bottom part of that little comic is how I felt watching that scene. I was waiting for something good about it, and when that was the post-credit scene, I was like, really? Why?
Well, let's be honest here. Even the kind of work it takes to put on a bad musical, and they made it intentionally bad, right? They still had to make the music for it. They still had to choreograph it. So I'm sure that the idea of releasing the uncut version of that song, some people are going back there and watching it. I don't know who they are. Yeah. Some people.
I was waiting for like, I don't know, a big hand to punch through the wall, or an explosion, or Spider-Man to swing in, or something to happen, and it didn't. And I'm like, okay, there's another credit scene. Like, you would also like to watch. Like, wait, what? But I mean, it was still a great show overall. I'm not going to judge the entire show. And I was so hard on Hawkeye for like 17 years. And now I'm like, I actually really liked Hawkeye. I do like Daredevil better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any comparison, in my opinion, between the two. But what the MCU has done a great job of, especially recently, like with WandaVision, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, with Loki, with a lot of these individual series shows, is they've allowed us to focus on characters that we normally don't get a chance to really shine a whole lot. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on, we have. Okay, this is another one. I should have did this one first. Catch the podcast Sunday nights. Fun had by all. All week long, all sad. Then on Sunday night, yeah, it's time. But then this week, Sunday night was more like all week long.
Right.
But we kind of made that up for Tuesday. So now you don't have to wait as long for the next episode. Only a few days instead of a whole week.
Well, and Steven, I'm pretty sure that you feel the way that I do. I look forward to this podcast.
Yeah, I do.
Right? Like, this is not. I mean, and I like my job too. I'm a high school VP, but this is not work, right? Like, I don't have to do this for a living, though I'd like to.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but I like the idea that this is something that we do simply because we're just really fanboy geeks that love this stuff.
And I've told people too, it's sort of like a therapy for me. Even though I'm not talking about life issues or anything, still talking on a regular basis about any subject instead of just sitting and staring at walls or playing a game or watching a movie constantly and not having little interaction outside of work and other things. It's nice to have that, to set aside that time every week to do that.
I think it's productive. I think that it is positive, and it's something that I'm really proud of.
And I got to thank everybody that watches, because even if it's only a few, it's still amazing to me that like more than one or two people will sit and go like, I like watching these guys talk about these things.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
But here they are. And that's great. So we got next Stanley. Again, a lot of these are Spider-Man related. When you see three generations of Spider-Man fans uniting together to watch No Way Home in theater, laughing, crying, cheering, celebrating, and enjoying the movie, and all the characters in it together, I guess one movie can make a difference. Enough said. I was going to try to do a Stan Lee impression, but I'm like, nope. I'm not going to go there. I don't know how we ended up having so many Spider-Man related posts, but we do. But there's more about Hawkeye here. I'm not crying, you're crying. I loved her so much. Me too. I got to admit, that got me a little bit, because I remembered going back. I was like, okay. At the time in that movie, I was hoping he would fall and not Natasha, but she did. And I was like, oh, man. But then, that movie or that show, the Hawkeye show, was really great. And I don't know. I just, that scene was pretty good. I got to give it to him. And
I thought it was, I thought that it was interesting timing that Natasha gets killed off, and then she has her beef with Disney Plus, or with Disney.
Yeah.
They decide to kill her off right when she has the contract issue. But I don't think it was personal. I think it certainly played into the story. That scene, though, I think that we capture really well in that meme is, she had blamed Clint for her sister's death. Mm-hmm. Clearly, she hadn't seen Endgame. She wasn't there, but she had been manipulated to blame Clint. And the fact that she finally realized that Clint wasn't to blame for her sister's death, that was a powerful moment.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
More Stanley, the person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it is the right thing to do, is indeed without a doubt a real superhero. Which kind of goes back to Betty White too, and even Rob Bruce for a little bit, because I didn't know him personally, but he always seemed to be a great guy. He never said, "Oh, get out of here, guy! I don't care about your Spider-Man dolls." He always was there to say, "Hey, thanks for whatever." So people like that do the right thing, or just even being nice, not just going out of your way to help somebody or do something for somebody, but just being nice to people for no reason. It can be hard sometimes. So I'm more like an anti-hero instead of a superhero. But I mean, it's those people are heroes.
Right. I've often said, not all heroes wear capes. And I think that kind of ties into it too, right?
It does. It really does. So here we go. Gwen. Sorry. Who is Gwen? This would be great if they somehow were able to tie in, because they really could do that, couldn't they? Because Disney owns the Dalmatian stuff, right?
They could. I don't know if I necessarily want Cruella de Vil though in a Spider-Man movie.
No, but it would be it would be funny, but I don't think I would actually want it to happen.
She would be like, "Get the poopies."
And then what would happen next? Like all the Dalmatians would be 100 different spider dogs, and it's like
right.
Like I don't know.
She would be sort of like she'd be like Ratcatcher.
It'd be so weird.
Right.
To see, it just probably wouldn't work. Corey's post. Let our fruit salad powers combine. If watermelon exists, why don't earth melon, fire melon, and air melon, the melons?
Oh gosh.
I thought that was great. I mean, seriously, I would love to see what a fire melon tastes like. I don't think I want to try an earth melon. That just does not sound good at all. Air melon just seems like it wouldn't be anything.
So fire melon, I will tell you, here in California, they put chili on their fruit.
Oh wow!
I don't know if is that a thing in North Carolina.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff like like Southern food. There's crazy things, hot sauce and everything, this and that. But I don't know of any specific like well-known thing here that has like chili and or anything like that with fruit.
I will tell you, every single corner here in Southern California, you got a taco truck and you got just a fruit stand with one guy, and he literally just goes and fills up a container with fruit, and then he'll sprinkle chili and lime on top.
It's weird. I guess it would be good. I mean, it sounds like it could be good because lime is good. I love lemon pepper, lime, like citrusy things on other things. So I would probably kind of like that. I've seen lots of fruits and beers, but that's not. It's like that's more of a worldwide thing than it is a regional United States thing. But I'll have to definitely try that.
I'd recommend it.
Yay! Look who it is.
Yay!
Spider-Man. Me on winter break. My mood. Yay! I like this picture. I don't know if that's from No Way Home or if it's from an older, Spider-Man. But
I would love some context with that picture. Like, what is he so excited about? Maybe there's an ice cream cone off camera or something.
In the corner, it looks like a hand, maybe. In the bottom right-hand corner. I think the person, like, off camera is holding a phone playing this podcast. And Andrew Garfield's like, I can't wait to see what they said about me in the movie.
Right. I'm guessing that what happened is he had the mask on, and then he took the mask off and made the face.
Yeah, I mean,
surprise.
I think so. I think that's exactly what happened. He's like,
yeah.
Oh wait, we already said that.
Yeah.
This was not in the group, but I wanted to throw it in there anyway because we talked last time about Christmas Story, and we saw 12-year-old me smashing spaghetti in my face. This one, right after that, I saw this figure at a Target, and I thought, I want to buy this figure.
Oh, but that face is so cringy.
It is creepy.
So cringy.
He has the BB gun, and he has the sweater, and like all this. But I wasn't going to pay $35.
Yeah.
For the one figure.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't.
But at least you took a picture of it. Hey,
yeah.
Clemente.
How's it going?
Hey.
I don't know. I like action figures. I collect figures, and I kind of wanted that figure, but at the same time, I would have bought it just for the creepy factor alone. And they also had like a mini leg lamp. It was at a Walmart. It was the same day, but it was a nightlight leg lamp. So it was probably about 6 inches or 5 inches. And I was gonna buy it, but I was like, if I plug it into the plug in the bottom of the wall, I'm never gonna actually see this thing.
So I've got to tell you the truth here. Just like in the movie, my wife ended up winning a mini leg lamp many years ago, and she was so proud of that mini leg lamp. She had it on display in our house on the mantle above the fireplace. And
nice.
Much like the mother in the movie, I ultimately had her remove it.
You didn't like knock it over by accident and then it break and like, oh no, my award.
I didn't. It had been there for quite a long time.
That would have been funnier, but
yeah.
So Marvel Studios might have found its Johnny Blaze. Norman Reedus might play as a Ghost Rider. I mean, that it could be cool. I don't see why that would be bad. I mean, Nicolas Cage was great too, but I wouldn't hate a new Ghost Rider. I wouldn't hate it. I don't know. I like the original. I'm not saying it was the best or whatever, but Going back just for a second, though, I was outbid on eBay for Ralphie. I tapped out at $50. Yeah, I tapped out at 35.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm waiting for it to be in the bargain bin at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, the Ghost Rider, that would be cool, I think.
So I'm not really familiar a whole lot with Norman Reedus.
He was on, I don't know him that much. My dad actually met him once. In a weird situation. I'll tell that story real quick. He was from The Walking Dead, I believe.
Okay.
So he was one of those guys.
The long-haired guy?
Yeah, he had like the long hair and like kind of like the scruffy beard.
Yeah.
He, for somehow, like some people my dad knew had this church. It was like a biker themed church. So they would, be wearing, you would go in and they would have their bandanas, leather vests, tattoos, and you're like, oh my gosh, am I in like a bicycle gang war or a motorcycle gang war? And then they'd like go inside and like it would be a church service. And then at their actual the actual podium there is like an actual like windshield guard on a motorcycle with handlebars, and they're like the preacher stands behind it and like talks from it. And it's kind of cool. I never went myself, but my dad went a few times. We knew the guy, some of the people there that go there. And this dude was there one day. Somebody in the church knew him somehow, and he showed up for the service. And that's here in North Carolina, randomly. Okay. My dad's like, I know that guy. I'm like, no, you don't. He didn't get a picture with the guy, but other people did. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome that you met the guy. I mean, I wasn't into the show or anything, but still, that's pretty cool.
So he already likes the biker aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, and it fits him. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Walking Dead, but I mean, even in that show, he seemed to be along those lines.
Yeah.
You could even look at the picture and like, he looks really cool on fire. Not that I want him to be set on fire.
Yeah, that'd be great casting. You're like, we think that you look really good set on fire.
Can we try something really quick? Wait a minute. I think I just figured something out. Let's see what happens.
Let's go. Wow.
Oh.
Wow. You are amazing.
I accidentally figured that out because in the StreamYard layout here, that's going to be really weird to go over here now. I'm like used to you being over here. I was hovering my mouse and I realized that when I moved it from side to side, there were different options. There's also options to go solo for each person, which I thought about doing in the past, but it's so much work to click back and forth when people.
What, you want to try to get rid of me?
No, not necessarily. And it's also weird because it feels like oh gosh, it's so weird. But I'm glad we're on the right sides now. We're finally 2022, the first show in 2022. We're on the right sides for the coasts and everything.
Better late than never. 81 episodes and finally learned how to switch sides on the screen.
And it was as simple as just dragging the mouse over in real time. Want to get motion sick?
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm definitely.
See, okay, yeah, see, no more of that. But I think that's pretty cool. I'm super excited. Got really distracted by that. And I'm like, holy crap, that worked. All right, so where were we here? Oh yeah. Now this is a list of a lot of these Marvel properties. Well, not just Marvel, but Marvel, DC, just great things in general coming over the next year. Of course, Morbius this month, Uncharted next month, The Batman in March. I'm not really going to go through every single title here, but I'm excited for a lot of these. Sonic 2, I mean, I've not even seen the first Sonic movie, but I want to watch it. Doctor Strange in May, of course.
Flash.
The Flash is a huge one. And Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. And at some point, this isn't on the list here, but at some point we're getting Spider-Man freshman year, which is the animated origin story from the MCU. Excuse me, Spider-Man, which is amazing. And Guardians 3, I think that is. No, that's not Guardians 3. That's something different. Holiday special or something. I don't know. Maybe it is Guardians 3. The text is small. She-Hulk and Miss Marvel. Wakanda Forever. There's so many.
Aquaman.
Well, no. Aquaman, I can't say. Black Adam is going to be cool.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
So many good ones.
Right.
And apparently a new Jurassic Park. But yeah, I'm excited about a lot of those. I think my biggest one of that list probably is Flash. which that's not coming out until like November, December, something like that. What did it say?
They're making us wait a long time.
November. Yeah, November.
Yeah.
Almost a year away from today.
I think for me, the big ones that I'm really excited for are Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange,
Yes.
The Flash, and the Batman. Those are the big ones for me.
How cool would it be if the Batman was in the Flash? I know, because both of those movies have been worked on for quite a while now. So how cool would it be if they crossed over?
It would be crazy. I know that there's a lot of talk about Michael Keaton's involvement.
Yeah.
I think in both movies, right?
I think so, actually.
Guy can't stay out of the cowl.
And it says Morbius was delayed for 3 months for reshoots, I think, maybe to add Andrew Garfield. I've heard that, honestly, that Sony and Disney and everything are looking into doing more with those other Spider-Men and just more crossover stuff. So hopefully that can happen.
But another delay.
Another delay.
Like they keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. At least it wasn't as bad as Ghostbusters. That was delayed like 6 years. I think we were supposed to originally see Ghostbusters Afterlife before they premiered the first season of Supernatural.
Oh, wow.
No, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit. But I mean, it's 15 years.
Right.
But it should be a great year for super movies.
That's
definitely.
the point. I think that really is the point of that whole post, is that if you like pop culture, superhero, any of that kind of stuff, you're going to be busy.
You really are.
It's going to be. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about on this show.
And at some point this year, hopefully, we're going to start seeing some. I had to ask Mark about this, but Green Lantern. And then of course we're talking about that's more not film but television on HBO Max, and then coming up in how many days? Like a week from today, I think, Superman and Lois. And
yeah.
And this Sunday is a different show. We mentioned in the post earlier that this Sunday we're going to be talking to the girls over at Great Geeks Debate about the next season, what to expect, and we'll dive more into that after the premiere and going on through the season. But I'm excited for that too, and for Flash to come back and to see if Flash can see if this season of the Flash can keep any of the momentum from the first 3 episodes of the season, because the last 2 were like, but hopefully that picks back up.
We'll have to just kind of cross our fingers on that one.
Yeah. So there's a lot to look forward to this year, superhero wise. I can't wait for Spider-Man No Way Home to be on Blu-ray, or apparently it's on digital now. So you can go and get it online, I guess, and digitally download it and watch it. I want that nice, amazing like case. I could open it and here's I own it now, and like put it in whenever I want. Plus the extra bonus content. I love the 2nd and 3rd discs and stuff like that. Speaking of superpowers, we have Wolverine. Is what I like to call him. Time Traveler Kills Butterfly timeline. Hello. That's amazing. I saw that and I thought this has to go on the show because it's Wolverine and Mr. Bean together. I just can't get I cannot get Wolverine out of my head. Wolverine, the next great superhero.
Just you wait.
And this is what I love about the show. We'll mention something, and then next week somebody will have taken that one thing we said and find a meme that's related to it.
Yeah,
because we talked about how the Penguin in the Batman is Colin Farrell, and they do not look anything like each other. But
no,
it's the same guy.
No, he looks totally transformed, which I guess is the point.
Yeah, I mean, but like so impressive. Like I can't. It freaks me out. It's one of those eerie things. But I'm excited.
Yeah,
because we know the Penguin's going to be in the movie.
Oh yeah, I'm wondering about how he's going to do with the character. I think for me, Danny DeVito has always been kind of like the epitome for me of the Penguin. And so, I don't know how he's going to beat that for me.
And Danny DeVito's Penguin was so creepy. And so I thought he was an alien when I was a kid because he always had the goo coming off of him, that black, dark, like I guess it was just sewage or something. I don't know. But like, I thought he was an alien, and I thought it was just like black blood, like he was melting or something. And it was always creepy. And
I
I've
always
always
thought
loved it.
I've always loved Danny DeVito, but he kind of a funny looking dude, right? He intellectual, you know, um, again, I think that movie was perfectly cast.
It was
So,
great.
Colin Farrell has some big oversized flippers to fit into, I guess. So,
Absolutely. Trying to be a between a pot and a hard place meme lord. Well, you're pretty close because there's a few of you that 2 or 3 of you that are fighting for that title.
I
So
think we need to have like some kind of awards ceremony or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll only be like 3 nominees for every category, but still.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. Unless we are included, because then I'll just cheat and win.
I think I'll recuse myself just for that competition.
That would be entertaining. So
Yeah.
anybody, if you want to create memes, if you know how to create memes, people create them and then put them on or find them, share them. We love that's one of my favorite parts of this show every week is looking at these and just sharing them and going. We don't always get to every single one, and we don't always post every comment on the screen, but we do, what we can and try to fit everything in. And it's that part of it is so much fun to me. So much fun. Lights, camera, and action. Me, I prefer Marvel movies because DC is too dark. Friend, they both have death and destruction. Me, no, I mean the movies are literally too dark. And honestly, they kind of are. But that goes along with tone. Marvel movies have their serious moments, but there's a lot more. It's like, I think something along the lines of what Mark Guggenheim said to us the first time he talked to us was the Marvel tends to go in that more reality-based kind of vibe, and DC's more kind of out there, alien-ness and like different. That's not his exact words, but something along those lines.
It almost feels like the DC movies are shot exclusively at night.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that. They are literally too dark.
Yeah.
And everybody's mother's name is Martha.
Right.
So yeah, this one is not it is related. It's another show that I wanted to share. This was posted on our group. So Lewis Perry posted this on our group, and which is fine. I love sharing other shows too. The Angry Geek Show. This was, I believe, yesterday that I pulled this. I wanted to share that because they have a website there at the bottom of it. It's theangrygeekshow.com. Go check them out. Their latest episode, apparently they're talking about The Witcher Season 2, Matrix, and Spider-Man No Way Home. So I haven't checked it out yet, but I wanted to share that. I've been really busy with binge watching Cobra Kai, playing with, I just got another Nintendo Switch, and I've been playing with this a lot lately. And I've been writing a little bit over the last, I wrote like 10 pages yesterday on my next screenplay idea. And I've been doing so much, but I want to catch up on shows and on other podcasts and kind of like pop culture shows like we do.
Right. I've got to say, I've really taken a lot of, yes, Brother from Another Martha. Yes.
That's great.
Awesome. I will say that for me, having 3 weeks off here for winter break, I really spent that time binging. So I can't do that, during the school year, but
it's hard to do.
Yeah. But I binged 3 seasons of Daredevil, a season of Cobra Kai, plus rewatching season 1 of Cobra Kai, and then I binged 2 seasons of Witcher.
Wow. I got no excuses, really. Well, I haven't been off the entire time, but when I've been off for a couple of days, and I'll sit and watch a show, and it's weird to me. Like Daredevil is harder for me to binge watch. Not that it's bad. I think it's just one of those slower paced shows. So I kind of want to space it out,
right,
and let it last. And like these high action, high impact shows like Cobra Kai, where it's always moving and you don't want to blink, you'll miss something. That kind of show, I'm just like, I can't stop watching. I like to like digest something like Daredevil and like, well, what do I think about this? And then move on to the next one. But we're going to get into the Cobra Kai stuff here because I have a lot of I took a lot of screenshots, little captures of Cobra Kai to kind of talk about this season.
Well, and people that maybe have not followed us for very long, we've been longtime fans.
Oh yeah,
of Cobra Kai. First of all, and I think for a lot of people that are fans of this show, our love for Cobra Kai goes all the way back to, the original Karate Kid, Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3. We kind of laugh a little bit about the fourth one.
the girl one.
But I think even then, all of it that's involved in that, maybe what you could call the Miyagi-verse a little bit. I think that was such an integral part of my youth and childhood, right? And so it's kind of cool that we get a chance to just see that story continue.
And I liked how you posted. You've got a few posts this week. You're going to tell your kids that these two were Ryu and Ken,
right?
Which when I saw that, I laughed. I was like, they do look like Ryu and Ken.
Absolutely. The funny thing though is I've been a pretty good dad, and I've my kids have watched Karate Kid, so they wouldn't be fooled at all.
No mercy.
No mercy.
Bravo on the binge. Cash. I cannot talk tonight. You know what it says, people. I get stumbled because I'm like, all this is in my head right now, and I'm just like trying to get it all out.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to be productive here on my break.
Yeah. I've been somewhat productive. I've spent a lot of time playing video games, but I've also started writing last night, and I really don't know why. I was just like, I feel like writing. Put my headphones on, put it on YouTube with some music playing, and minimize that window and just started writing.
Well, and I know that we're talking here about Cobra Kai, but I'll tell you, again, being a writer for 20 plus years, there's nothing like kind of getting in the zone and just letting the words come out. So I remember you were apologizing about not watching enough TV because you were too busy writing. I'm like, that's a good thing. You don't stop it when the train's already rolling, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, I thought I was higher than I was, but I'm at like page 12. But still,
you were high. No wonder you were writing so well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about well, but I mean, it's on the page. It's written.
Right.
But still, about 7 or 8 pages last night. It sounds like that's not much, but when you think about it, sitting there thinking about it, I don't have the exact timeline in my head of everything that's going to happen. So I'm just writing as I kind of think of it. What I did do differently this time is I wrote a little chart, as I've shared, I think, with you a little bit before, all these little notes. And it's kind of a flow chart of beginning to the end. And that's helped me a lot because now I have these key points in my head. So I can think, where do we start? Where are we finishing? How do we get to this point? And it kind of writes itself, which is kind of nice, as opposed to the last one that took me over 3 years to write. So
yeah, I've always told kids that making a plan is sort of like, setting your GPS when you go on vacation, right? That if you follow the directions, then you'll end up where you want to be. So I think it's a great idea. So Cobra Kai.
Yeah, this poster, I love this poster. I don't know if that's an official like Netflix Cobra Kai poster or if it's like a fan made thing, but it looks amazing. You've got, what is his name? Terry Silver. Wow. Terry Silver and John Kreese there together with the Cobra Kai. And then you have Daniel and Johnny with the Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang groups. And that's really cool. That poster is amazing. So it's like 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Instead of like 1-on-1 or whatever. And we're wondering this whole season, as we see here, Daniel and Johnny are trying to, work together to teach their two groups. And how are they supposed to do that? They have no idea how to do that.
And as we kind of discovered, they bombed totally.
Yeah, and you see, like, Johnny kind of mocking Daniel when they're training.
Right.
They realize they have to learn each other's styles in order to work together, which ultimately doesn't really work out.
Well, I think that it did to a degree.
Yeah.
Neither of them respect each other's style. Daniel thought the whole strike hard, strike first, no mercy was terrible. And I think he realized that there are times when you have to go and do that. And I think for the same way, Johnny kind of realized the importance of finding balance. But as far as their ability to co-teach kids, that was abysmal.
Yeah, the show is brilliant. They've definitely been practicing for an hours.
Right.
I mean, they're doing great. I mean,
Yeah.
they are doing great. And I love this scene here when you see Kreese with Terry Silver again. They're visiting Karate Kid 3. I'll have to say, season 4 of this show was better than Karate Kid 3 ever hoped to be. I think they did a great job at telling that story because I loved seeing Terry Silver. I just assumed he's going to come back as a wild madman, like, come on, Johnny, we got this. We got it. We're going to kick these little kids' asses. Ah! But no, he was like, John, leave me alone. I am rich in drinking my tea. And then he has to like convince him almost to become crazy again.
I think that what was amazing about it was that Terry Silver, he was reluctant about coming back. Like he didn't want to do it. And maybe it was that he knew that if he got kind of sucked back into the life, that it seems like he doesn't do anything halfway, right?
Right.
That he's going to be the master of it no matter what.
Do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yatta!
It's like an evil Yoda.
Yeah.
I think part of the story that I had not realized when I had watched the original movies was that Kreese and Kove or Silver, I'm sorry, that they were, Vietnam veterans. I had not really made that connection about them and their service. It was only Cobra Kai that made me realize that these are both Vietnam veterans. My father, who served, was also in Vietnam, and looking at both of them as being POWs and also being dealing with PTSD, I thought that was a really powerful image.
It really was.
The whole idea of Cobra Kai being their life lesson about survival. I thought that's pretty amazing.
I love the character development that because they've taken like already established characters from 30 years ago and gave them these backstories that they might not have necessarily had before, and found a way to like bridge it all together and make sense as to why these guys. And at the end of season 4, oh gosh, like pretty crazy ending. But like speaking about like character transformations and all this and that, Hawk, who was like the most evil kid in the world a year ago, is now, attacked basically by the Cobra Kai, and they did this to him. So now he's just regular old Eli again, which I thought was crazy.
Right. It's a lot like Samson, right? That, Samson gets his hair cut and immediately loses his powers.
Yeah.
And that mohawk for him had been, symbolic of his transformation. But, look at my over-the-top personality. Look at the eagle on my back, and they shaved off his mohawk, and now he's back to being Eli with the lip again.
And I think with this look, he could have like really closely shaved the rest of his hair and still had a very, very short mohawk. Like almost more like a Mr. T style mohawk, except not as thick, but still. But it was really about the transformation because, the evil mohawk was like, yeah, I'm badass. And then without it, he's like, I'm a good kid again. Want to buy some cookies? Like, and it was really cool to see that transformation.
Yeah. I think that thematically, he needed to realize that he didn't need to be Hawk, right? That he could be Eli, and that his girlfriend would still love him for who he is, and that he could still kick ass, even without the hair.
Right. And he had to realize that, and that was a really good story. Corey's saying like, we still have never seen Daniel's father. It's Terry Silver. No, how messed up would that be? Well, his dad died, I guess, but like it would be interesting to see a backstory flashback with Daniel's early childhood, because he's at an age now where you can get a kid that kind of looks like Ralph Macchio to play his son, or not his son, but sorry, himself from like 40 or 50 years ago. And you believe that Ralph Macchio is 60 years old?
That's crazy.
I think he's in his 60s, yeah, or
That's
69
crazy.
actually, maybe. No, not 69. That's too old. But he's at least 60, I think. I don't know. Not that 69 is too old for like the world, but as Betty White showed us, 99 is the, you know, that exit 99 is your time to go. Not that she should have. I'm going to stop talking about that now because I always make things go worse than they are. But yeah.
All right. So what else kind of stood out to you about Cobra Kai?
I liked how I know we talked about Terry Silver's already, but his transformation from beginning to end was so crazy. You know, like you said, he had to be kind of sucked back in and kind of drawn into it. But then once he got there, throughout the show, we see him, you know, kind of bowing to John Kreese a little bit. He's like, but no, we're supposed to do it this way, John. And like, no, I said do it my way. And so he's like, okay. Then there's that dynamic shift where by the end of the show, you know, Terry Silver is the one in charge, and he always has been. But he always respected Kreese to the point because he saved his life. But then he has that moment of like, how many times are you going to throw that in my face? Like, it happened, but I'm sick of you throwing it in my face like I owe you something. I'm done. And he pretty much did the craziest thing he could do when, you know, this is near the very end of the show, and he, you know, takes Terry Silver takes the Stingray. Stingray's like, oh, dude, let me be in Cobra Kai. He's like, no, you're stupid or whatever. Beats the crap out of the guy. And it's like, you want to be Cobra Kai? Do something for me. And I'm just like, uh-oh. And then at the end, we see, you know, Terry Silver and John Kreese. They won the thing, and they're like, yeah, we're the best. And then we're the best. Which I was, by the way, disappointed we didn't get to hear that song. I was mad.
Well, I'm sure that for season 5, they could have Carrie Underwood come out and sing it.
Yeah, and that was a pretty cool moment. I mean, I was never a huge fan, but I thought it was cool that they reached out and was like, hey, look, surprise, we did this thing. But
well, not only did they get new floor mats, they got
the
blue floor mats, because that guy was really proud of them, and Carrie Underwood.
It's like, look at all these people. It's the blue mats. It's the blue mats. Like,
right. That guy was silly.
I love that.
So I will say that final showdown between Kreese and Silver.
Yeah.
Number one, I thought they did a really good job of making that confrontation build up subtle, so it wasn't so obvious. I think we had kind of expected that their loyalty for each other was enough to keep them tied together and pretty much on the same side. I think that we had not realized this idea that you know, getting rid of weakness, right? That for Silver, you know, Kreese had always been his weakness, and so now when he poured the wine and then didn't drink it himself, I was certain that Silver was trying to poison him.
That's what I thought.
That was what I was worried about. Oh, great, he's poisoning him. That he ends up getting him arrested. That was kind of a surprise move.
Talk about that psychic link. Oh,
yeah, I know. But I really, because you see him pour the wine. He's in some really great vintage, you know, but waiting for opportunity to do it. Hands it off. You see the guy take a drink, and then without drinking it, you know, Silver puts it down. I'm like, oh, he's poisoned it. Still think that would have been pretty jacked up too.
Yeah, because we don't want John Kreese to die.
No,
we want him to suffer. You know, you don't want to kill the guy because it's like the easy way out. He's done. Okay, now what? Who do we hate now? But I loved how he gets arrested for it because it's like, how do you get out of that? How do you? I mean, season 5. I wonder how much they're going to keep building up, because it's like, I'm afraid the show might be going in a direction where they're adding too much into the pot. Because, we saw the very end of the last moment of Cobra Kai, season 4. You see Johnny talking to Mr. Miyagi at his grave, or we think it's Mr. Miyagi. So he's like, Mr. Miyagi, I can't honor, because, going back for a minute though, the All Valley tournament, we see that, Hawk beats was it Robbie, or who was it that fought against him? Anyway, Hawk wins the trophy, the championship. So he got his redemption, and like, yeah, look, I proved myself. But then we know we had the skill competition, we have the female trophy, and so the overall all-star champion or whatever was Cobra Kai. And that meant that Daniel and Johnny both had to stop teaching, and they weren't allowed. It was their bet. And then Daniel's talking to Mr. Miyagi, like, how can I honor a deal with someone who has none? Like, I can't. I have to step up now more than ever to stop Terry Silver and all this and that. Will you help me? And I'm like, are we going to see like a CGI Mr. Miyagi go, yes, Daniel-san, I am here. And then like, no, you turn over and there's Chosen again. So you know that Chosen is going to be helping Daniel teach Miyagi-Do, which, how fitting is that though? Because they were both taught in the same styles.
Right.
So they both know the same moves. Chosen is actually a little bit more skilled than Daniel. And then you have poor Johnny over there like, all right, so be badass, drink your beer, and kick ass, and he's there by himself. Then you have Terry Silver and then Daniel and Chosen on the other side. It's like, I don't think Johnny has a chance on his own. But who's to say? Because they were friendly. Johnny and Daniel were pretty friendly by the end of the series. Not the series, the season.
So I do feel a couple of things. Number one, if Daniel and Johnny had, I wish they had realized how dire their circumstance was. That for whatever reason they weren't training the kids or working together, like they were fighting for their life, right? Yes. They were so worried about fighting with each other that it's that whole divide and conquer thing, right?
It really was.
The minute they became two separate dojos again, they lost.
Yeah.
So.
Thinking Sam will be the tie between the two, knowing both styles. I think so. And how many times in that season did you think Sam was going to join Cobra Kai? Or not even Cobra Kai, but like Eagle Fang, I mean. Sorry. It seemed like she was going to leave Miyagi-Do completely and just go over there all the time.
Well, a lot of the kids, I think, were, Miyagi-Do on paper and Eagle Fang in spirit, and vice versa. Eagle Fang on paper and Miyagi-Do. We saw a lot of that crossover with the kids, and that's what made it confusing, was because they didn't know who to listen to or follow from. When we in the tournament, what they realized was that allowing the kids to take the best of both styles allowed them to really perform their best.
And the whole season I was thinking, like, kind of like Daniel, like, you can't break away from the tradition of Miyagi-Do, because like Miyagi's the one that, like, his family brought it over from China and all this and that. But then they showed that flashback. He's like, I almost forgot Mr. Miyagi's most important lesson. He's like, I forget what he said exactly, but Daniel's like, but I'm not doing it my way. I'm doing it your way. He's like, one day you'll do it own way. And I thought, I had completely forgotten about that moment. So Mr. Miyagi knew. He's like, one day you're going to fight in your own style. You're going to do your own thing. You have your own rules.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad about it. And he forgot that entirely until that moment. And then he's like, oh, yeah. Hey, Johnny, come here. So, and it worked. They didn't win the overall championship or whatever, but I mean, it worked. They finally found a way to work together without working together. And for that one moment, they were Miyagi Fang Karate. I love when they said that.
Right. What I think that ultimately, because it officially is the end of Eagle Fang and of Miyagi-Do. They're going to have to become something else. So they're going to be forced to fuse.
Maybe so.
I'm gonna say something kind of controversial. I know we normally stick to being positive.
Oh no!
But I know, brace for it. So, how do you feel about this idea that the LaRussos really are kind of like the villains?
They kind of are.
You know what I mean? I hate to say that because I want to see Daniel as the good guy, and
Yeah.
yet how much shady crap have we seen them do? His wife, essentially, like is she's trying to play the tough woman, and I think in some ways, trying to defend her kids, um, but on the same side, just being really savage. Um, you know, the daughter, um, you know, um,
Yeah.
the I just feel like Samantha,
Mhm.
she went out of her way to go and antagonize and attack and bully, um, and
She did. She really did.
yeah, and even kind of there's a kind of an arrogance, you know, to uh, um, to the LaRussos, and then we
Yeah.
finally the little brother talks, right?
Oh my
Um,
gosh. The stuff
you
with
know,
him, how do we forget that?
I know the little brother. I was trying to think of what his name is.
Anthony, the Daniel's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony.
Um,
I don't know the actor's name, but
so it's Griffin Santa Pietro.
okay. Wow,
That
that's
just
a
rolls
long one.
off the tongue. But yeah, Anthony. We find out that here he is, middle school kid, and he's an absolute jerk. Now, mind you,
Yeah.
he's doing what I think a lot of kids do, where they bow to peer pressure, and
Hmm.
um, but here he's cyberbullying, and then um, you know, hazing and pranking this kid, you know,
Being
um,
Daniel in a
yeah,
way, because
and
Daniel kind of did the same things.
then what happens? The fight breaks out at school, and having been in this position before, as the kid who gets bullied, you get picked on, you get
Hmm.
picked on, you get picked on, you get picked on, and then you finally fight back. And what happens? You're the one that ends up in the principal's office, and
Yeah.
so that's what we had seen with um, with Kenny, right?
Yeah, and he ultimately becomes the bully, which by the end of it, because Anthony's like, "Oh, I messed up. Like, I'm so sorry," and he's like, "Yeah, you want to beat on me some more?" Like, just like really going in on him, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Holy crap, kid!" Then I realized like the show needs a new Hawk, a new badass evil like Hawk, and they don't have that anymore, so they kind of need that. I thought Robbie was good enough, but Robbie, as we see, kind of goes back and goes, "Oh, okay." That's the one thing I kind of saw coming. Like by the end of season 4, Robbie's going to be a good guy again. Um, but speaking of that, though, how emotional was that scene where Johnny's like passed out drunk and Miguel's like helping him? He's like, yeah, like he's mumbling and they're talking back and forth, and he's like, "You are important to me. I love you." He's like, "I love you too," and he's like, no, he says, "I love you" or something. He's like, "I love you too, Robbie," and calls him Robbie. And that just breaks Miguel. He's like, "Oh my God, he hates me." Um, that was amazing. And then we see Robbie kind of connect with Johnny for the first time ever and like hug and crying and emotional. And it's just like, oh crap, that dynamic is changing again. Um, it's like Johnny was jealous of losing his new son to Daniel, and then now he got his real son back. And then season 5 is going to be a huge mess with all these people going from bullied to not bullied, from having a relationship with their father and to not having it to having it again, and like all this back and forth stuff. It's like,
yeah.
wow, it really is an emotional roller coaster. Like, not even exaggerating. Like, it
You
always
know,
sounds kind of cliche, but it's true.
if you remember, in the third movie, Daniel was preparing for the All Valley again, right,
Yeah.
for the tournament, and Mr. Miyagi had essentially said, "No, I won't train you."
Hmm.
And I think it's strange. Yeah, at the time I thought that's crazy, Mr. Miyagi. Why aren't you going to train Daniel for the tournament? And I kind of feel like what Miyagi was trying to avoid was what Daniel and Johnny are dealing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have either Danny or Johnny made things any better for these kids?
I mean, not really. Just as soon as you think they are doing that you realize, oh, they're not. They're making it worse. It seems better now. Like Johnny's relationship with Miguel was great up to the point where, okay, he breaks his back, almost dies. Then he brings him back from that. He's like tapping his foot. He helps him walk again and all this stuff. Then what happens? Well, all this bad stuff happens, and now the whole thing's falling apart, and Miguel's all crying because Johnny doesn't love him. And it's so no matter what they do, they try to help. They start to help, but then they crush these kids in one way or the other.
But I think that the question for me comes down to who is the karate for? Is Daniel doing the karate for the kids? Is Johnny doing the karate for the kids, or is he doing it for himself? And that for me, I think is something that I question a little bit.
I think they're definitely doing it for themselves. I mean, I think with Daniel, in his case, it's more of he wants to do it for kids, but he's really doing it for himself because he wants to pass on the legacy and the teachings of Mr. Miyagi out of all the love and respect he had for him. But he wants himself to feel better because of it. So it ultimately is a little bit selfish of him to.
Daniel's son, though, I think Daniel's son made a pretty poignant commentary, though. He's like, I don't know who this Mr. Miyagi was, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't anything to me. Why should I care about him?
Exactly.
Right? And I think that is part of the challenge is that, Daniel is so stuck in the past that he can't really embrace the present.
He can't, like Miyagi said, one day you'll teach own way. And I think, too, I don't know if they meant this or if it's just funny coincidence, but like with Anthony saying that, I think that might have been like a commentary of the audience today. Like, you're talking about Miyagi too much. You don't need to. I don't know who the guy is. I'm like 19. I don't know who this Miyagi guy was in the 80s. That was before the internet. That's old, and push forward. So I think that goes back to what you're saying. Like, Daniel's not going to teach anymore. Johnny's not going to teach anymore. And then Chosen comes in. So, and what's great about Chosen is like he basically is Daniel, but the Japanese version. They know the same exact things. So they can still teach that style and have that honor without Daniel being, oh, God, Mr. Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi, Focus on selling a car once in a while. Jeez.
Right.
I mean, I like Mr. Miyagi, but...
Yeah, or his marriage a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's touched his wife in 3 years. I mean, he's always like, now, show me... Like, imagine if he, like, takes his karate lessons to the bedroom, like, show me paint the fence. Huh? Like, I don't know.
That could get a little bit naughty. Yeah.
And with Chris, that's you. Corey. Wow, I did the same thing. Because your face is over here now, and it's weird. I keep looking over. Two things. One, we know Silver paid off the judges, but I don't see any bad calls. Two, no healing hands. I was waiting for it. I forgot to point that out. Yeah, the little bribe at the end where Terry Silver is talking to the judge and Tori comes in with her female's trophy, going like, wait a minute. So we're about to see that shift too. She's probably going to smash the trophy or something.
Right. Well, so Corey had said we didn't see any bad calls. If he had
saw one.
If they saw one, if he had made 17 bad calls, then the entire crowd there at the tournament would have, crane kicked the judge to death. Right? He would have left without getting hurt. But if he waits until there's that 1 foot out of the circle.
Yeah.
I think that the foot had been in.
It was, yeah.
It was in. It was a legitimate kick, but he had been paid off, and that was the one thing. That one call ultimately cost Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang to win.
That's what I took out of it. I took it as that one single call was the deciding factor. Like, because I was wondering in Karate Kid 3. You remember, he tells Mike Barnes, he's like, go out there, let it get down to like, what was it, 2 versus 2 or something, because it's 3 points to win. So he's like, let it get to a tie and then like beat the crap, or let him get 2 points ahead of you and then beat the crap out of him. Something along those lines is what Terry Silver told Mike Barnes. And so that's what he did. And I think Daniel ended up winning that one. I can't remember. But that's sort of what we see here. Like, he's telling this referee to, like, or whatever the guy was, if it gets to this point, then you say they are out of bounds. If it gets down to that point. If not, then, like, don't worry about it, because we're going to kick their asses, so don't worry about it. But if it does, I think that's what it was. It fit that same theme from Karate Kid 3. But I'm excited to see where season 5 goes. But...
I agree, and I think, again, you're right with Chosen coming back. There is, I think, perhaps this importance of, returning to your roots. I think legacy is an important idea here. You've got Silver and what they're doing with Cobra Kai. The legacy of what they learned from their experience in Vietnam. I think that both Daniel and Johnny trying to hold on to the legacy of their teachers and what they learned from their experiences. But I still wonder about if Mr. Miyagi would be, Mr. Miyagi his name gets dropped a lot. Really, but I often wonder if he would be proud of the legacy of Miyagi-Do karate.
I think he would be. I think if he could say one thing, he would probably tell Daniel, like, that, no such thing as bad student, only bad teacher, Daniel.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because look at how misguided those 2 groups of kids were, and ultimately 3 groups of kids. I think Mr. Miyagi would be a little disappointed in Daniel and how he's not the lessons, because the lessons like paint the fence and this and that and the honor and all that was great, but letting his ego get in the way and not even fighting for real honor, or defending your own honor. That was one of the things Mr. Miyagi taught him. Like, no fight for point, fight for whatever I said in the movie, I can't remember. But yeah, that was the whole thing. Mr. Miyagi would hate the idea of a tournament anyway, because there was no real reason to fight. But I mean, I think overall he would be proud of the effort and the work that he was putting in to try.
I think go ahead.
Wow, must sell bonsai shop and became a used car slumlord Miyagi. Wow. That would be funny. Gosh, if we only had Pat Morita still.
I know. That would be amazing. I think it's hilarious. I had forgotten about the Mr. Miyagi's little trees.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that store never took off.
Yeah, and it's like, I wish we saw more of it. I think, it was doing okay until, like, those kids came and smashed everything up and stole it, and then Daniel was going to try to sell the tree, his bonsai from Okinawa and all this stuff. And then, like, he's like, oh, I saw Chuck. It's like, oh, he could have just did that, and then the whole movie would have fallen apart. But yeah, like, you think by the end of Karate Kid 3 that shop's doing pretty decent. Then all of a sudden, like 30 years later, it's gone. Like, why didn't Daniel just keep it? Like, he was never good with money. It's a wonder he became a successful car salesman. And not even a salesman, but the owner of, like, all these dealerships. He's rich. But he couldn't manage his money ever before. But,
well,
I don't know.
Here's what we know. We know that he married a pretty savvy woman.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my guess. Is she's Daniel might be the figurehead of LaRusso Auto, but his wife, she's the boss.
She definitely is the brains.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi, oh my god, Daniel, we have a car to sell. Like, that, she was always focused on the car. Oh, not the car, but she was always focused on the business.
Right. It's Daniel who he keeps, giving jobs to sketchy family members.
Yeah, and then rehiring them back like 3 years later. But overall, I loved Cobra Kai season 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. A lot of stuff I didn't expect. A lot of the stuff I thought probably would happen. I'm waiting to see like how Tori is going to change, because we know that she sees like, crap, this isn't right, and her relationship with Daniel's wife throughout the movie and all of that. It's just, I don't know. It could go in so many different directions. It's hard to predict what could happen. I did read that we might get more episodes around middle to late, or around maybe late summer or so for season 5, which I'm like, that's a lot sooner than usual, because it is finished filming completely. They're working on editing and all that stuff, but they've finished filming it already.
But it's still the waiting game. That's going to kill you.
The 1 year. I wish they would come out with one episode every 2 months.
Yeah.
That way, well, maybe not every 2 months, but every month. And then that way we'd only have to wait for 2 months to get a new episode.
I will say that I enjoy the fact that Netflix drops the whole season all at one time, so I can binge it. At the same time, what sucks is the equal problem that I binge it and then I've got nothing to watch, you know, in between times. Or I've got to go back and rewatch the whole thing.
Or go back and watch the original movies.
Right.
And I think Netflix even has the next Karate Kid on there now. I think they might have all the movies on there now. I don't know if the original 3 are there, but I know that one is. But some other platform, I think it might be maybe Hulu. I don't know.
We haven't talked about this yet, but I think we should. Did you notice that that they indirectly reference the Jackie Chan Karate Kid?
Sort of.
The whole idea that you've got Dallas Dupree as Kenny Payne, right? Who is this skinny kid? The mother is essentially a single mom, raising him on his own because his dad's over in the military, and they've just moved to a new town, and that I feel like that element of the Jackie Chan movie, I think that can't be coincidental.
No, I mean,
it's integrated.
I feel like if they're going to do that, they should have just got Jaden Smith to play the kid and been like, here it is. There they are. I mean, boom. And they've said that they're not going to cross over like that. No. But still.
But I really did feel like that was sort of an indirect crossover with that character a little bit.
I think so.
They were at least kind of, paying homage to it without saying it.
Right.
Which makes me wonder if we might end up having Jackie Chan on the show.
I think we might. I mean, because they said that he will never come in and play that character ever. And nor would Jaden Smith come and play that character ever. But it is possible that Jackie Chan exists in this universe. So he could come in and be Jackie Chan. Like, oh, hello, everybody. I am Jackie Chan. Ha, yeah. Or he could play a completely different character. Like, I am this guy's father. I am Miyagi's brother. Or I don't know. Like it could be anybody. I'm bad at impressions, so I'm not going to do that again. But I also didn't want to leave without talking about Daredevil, because we've been talking a lot about Cobra Kai and everything, and we haven't really talked about Daredevil too much.
And I think just maybe this could be like a teaser conversation for later. Number one, if you haven't seen Daredevil, it's on Netflix. Get yourself caught up. It is fantastic.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I used to hate it, but I love it now.
Why did you hate it?
It was like more slow paced, and I wasn't really familiar with the character, and I was watching it like, he's blind. Okay. Oh wow, he can see kind of, but not really. And I didn't really know the character, and I found more out about the character. I saw the bit, and really, No Way Home really made me get interested, because I'm like, he caught a brick. Why? I don't understand that. Let me go watch the show. Ooh, it's good. That's the short version, pretty much. Once I got to know the character a little bit, it was more entertaining to watch the overall show.
And he's a really good lawyer.
He's like, how did you do that? I'm a really good lawyer. I really loved that. I think it was great. But I mean, and Rosario Dawson is amazing in that show. And then the girl that I don't remember her name. Oh my gosh, the other girl.
So you're talking about Deborah Ann Wool?
Yeah, like wow, I'm not good with names.
She plays Karen.
Karen, yes. I was almost gonna call her Kim for some reason.
Right, and then you have Foggy.
Yeah,
Foggy, who I thought that he was really brought in as the comic relief, and as he transforms over the course of the show, he really kind of mans up. So I think Daredevil, just as much as it establishes Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and as he just does a fantastic job of playing somebody who looks like they are legitimately blind.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, right, as Kingpin.
Oh, God.
He's right, like just fantastic.
That's my favorite character right now. The stuff they showed, I don't want to get too far into it. Like you said, it's going to be a teaser, but we can finish this discussion in a couple of weeks when we really talk about everything. But the stuff that they show, the flashbacks of him, and I'm spoilers, killing his father like by bashing his brains in with a hammer. He's like, kick him, keep kicking him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really got to the point where I could almost feel bad for Fisk. I was like, I get it. But it also like shows how crazy and insane the dude is. It's not his fault necessarily, but still, he genuinely thinks, as most villains do, that he's doing a good thing for the world. That's what even Matt Murdock says. Like, I think he does believe it. I think he does think that this is good.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so dangerous, I think.
Yeah. Kingpin is sort of like the Marvel equivalent of Lex Luthor in my mind. He's not a scientist, but the fact that he is the ultimate chess player, right?
Yeah.
He really thought things ahead. He's manipulating, everything. The idea that somehow here he is in prison and he's able to, set things up so that he's the one in control, not anyway, pretty amazing. You haven't seen that part, have you?
No, the prison thing, not yet, but I knew it was coming, but I just haven't seen everything come together yet. The episode I just finished, brilliant. I think, was the one where he showed him killing his dad. There's 2 more episodes, I think, on season 1. Oh gosh, yeah. And this is another thing. There's Corey saying Fisk doesn't technically have any powers, but survived a whole quiver of special arrows. That's something else that I didn't realize, but they talked a lot about here in Daredevil, especially towards the end of the season, was that he has that special armor. And so that's maybe bulletproof, whatever. And that's how he's able to take so much damage. And I didn't know that before. So I was like, okay, that makes a little sense.
It's all those layers of subcutaneous fat. I think that's probably it too.
Part of it too, yeah. Yeah. Because I thought he was superpowered. Because when you see him in Hawkeye, he literally gets shot 1,000 times, and then he gets hit with an explosion and all this stuff. He's like, I'm like, really? Like, how?
1 bullet to the forehead.
Yeah. I mean, and then Daredevil tries to kill him towards the end of season 1, and he barely scratches him. He punches him, and he's like, a little blood in his nose. He pulls out his little, get the car. Like, really? That's it?
They show him in prison bench pressing without a spotter. He's got about every weight in the entire gym on that bar, and he's bench pressing it like it's nothing. I
love the story progression with him.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so good.
And I just got to the point where it's probably the episode after that Foggy finds out that Matt is Daredevil. Or he doesn't even have the name Daredevil yet. He's just the Black Mask or whatever. Or the guy in the mask or the hood or whatever they call it. He finds out and he's super mad about it and everything. And it's just such a good show. And it's one of those shows I have to really sit and digest. I don't, probably because I'm not familiar with it at all up until watching it now. And I'm like, wait a minute. So that guy and that guy. And then I kind of understand it more. But Wilson Fisk is such a terrible villain.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Not a terrible villain, like, oh, he doesn't do a good job of it, but like he's so good he's bad. Like,
yeah,
it's probably my favorite at this point. He's my favorite MCU villain.
Yeah,
he's next to Green Goblin because of No Way Home. But aside from No Way Home, he's like the most realistic and possible villain. Like that could happen.
Sometimes you see villains and you go, you just don't buy that they're all that big a deal, right? But
yeah,
Fisk for a guy that doesn't have any powers,
getting hit by a car head on too. That was another thing. He just didn't phase him at all.
So he, even without powers, he's definitely a force to deal with. And while he often likes to manipulate other people to get what he wants, he's not above his own kind of brutality.
Not at all.
And he's very good at it. So I will say that if you like Wilson Fisk, I think that in a lot of these other shows, I was thinking, that you've got Jessica Jones, you got Luke Cage, you got Iron Fist, and you've got the Punisher.
Yeah.
And they all kind of join together to become the Defenders. As far as bad guys go, the other amazing bad guy that you need to be kind of on the watch for is in Jessica Jones. It's a guy named Purple Man. And you might go, Purple Man, that doesn't sound very, very scary at all.
I love you. You love me.
I know.
I am Barney. I'm on TV.
This is not Barney the Purple Dinosaur or anything.
Well,
but David Tennant from Doctor Who fame, he plays Purple Man, terrifying villain. Really good. So I won't spoil that for you, just to say that I think the Purple Man gives Wilson Fisk a run for his money.
That is very interesting. I'll have to check that out. And I may not watch all those shows, but I might go back and watch Defenders. I don't know. Or maybe I will watch them all.
So Defenders does what Avengers does, right? That it takes each of the individual stories that you learn about those characters and then puts them together to fight the ultimate bad guy that's been, hinted at, all along. So it's helpful if you've watched the other movies, but
maybe I will.
Yeah,
eventually. Not all today. Like I'm gonna go watch them right now.
But I would say that finish Daredevil, go watch Jessica Jones, go see Luke Cage, totally skip over Iron Fist. You may want to watch Punisher, but that really kind of lays the groundwork for Defenders.
And Jessica Jones, I really like that girl that plays in that, and I haven't seen the show itself yet, so I have to check it out because I've always liked her, and I'm like, why haven't I watched that show yet?
That's Kristen Ritter.
Right? Yes, and she's great.
She's fantastic, and there's I think this very cold, deliberate, edgy, sarcastic quality about her that she pulls off well for the character. You'll see what I mean when you go see it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and for a character that I had not really been familiar with, though I did because of the show, I went out and bought a couple of Jessica Jones comic books.
Okay,
but she's pretty awesome. So
I'll definitely have to check some of that out. But we went this whole entire show without doing this.
I know, yeah.
Facebook.com/Between the Pot and the Hard Place, and then Facebook.com/groups/Between the Pot and the Hard Place, where you're probably watching this right now. And on YouTube, Between the Pot and the Hard Place. You can follow us on Twitter @Pot and Hard Place. Follow myself @Steven_Colton and at CJ_Kirk1979. And our wonderful sponsor and friend, Mark Guggenheim @MGuggenheim. Wow, that was a lot to say real quick.
It really was. And if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube,
yes,
make sure you go and do that right now.
Do it now, because the show's coming up to a close. So now you have no excuse. You can't be like, I'm watching the show, I can't go join it. Do it. But yeah, 81 episodes. It's crazy. I wish we had. I wish I started this like video format from the beginning. Didn't think of it, so now it's crazy. It's like there's
but
many of these videos, and
I will say that what I really love is the idea that this podcast has really evolved a lot, right?
Yeah, it has different phases for sure.
Yeah, that there was a while where you were flying solo and doing it on your own, and then when I kind of popped in, but it's still doing it just audio only, and then wasn't our Mark Guggenheim episode? No, that was still it
was audio only.
Yeah. So
it was awkward too because you can't see each other. I'm just like staring in my ceiling like, so Mark, did you like watching TV when and I didn't even know where to look. Now it's like I still look at my screen or off to the side. I hardly ever look at the camera. But yeah, it's come a long way. It's so different than it used to be, but it still serves its purpose in different ways. Like it still helps me because I could be having the worst week ever. And then I'm like, oh, hey, everybody, look, Spider-Man. Me.
Well, and you had really started this group as, like you said, cheap therapy. And
I mean, yeah.
While we're not necessarily talking about, boohoo, my life sucks every week.
Right.
I think that it still allows us to kind of forget about the week and to focus on stuff that we really enjoy. So, yeah.
And that's what's so great about it. And like 81 episodes in, and that number isn't, just to clarify for some people, they might go back and listen to the podcast of the very first episode, audio only, where it's like 16 minutes of me talking about like sadness. Wow, why can't I not say that? I'm like sad, but yeah, sadness and being like alone. But it was like originally just those little self-therapy sessions, and then it grew to talking about other things, and then that grew to talking and having a permanent co-host, and then let's have guests. Now it's like, look, we're on YouTube and Facebook again. So yeah, this 81 is counting from the very beginning to now, not so much just these. I thought about rebranding it and call it Between a Pot and a Hard Place Live, with live being part of the name, and then just calling that episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I don't know. I just stuck with the name, stuck with the idea, and then kept going and kept counting. And now we're here. We're almost at 2 years total from the moment I started it to now.
Crazy, huh?
I think January 17th is like the very first time I posted anything for Between a Pot and a Hard Place. And then now we're coming up on that mark, and it's just like, wow, 2 whole years. Yeah. But
it's too bad we can't do something special for the anniversary episode.
I know, like go to Las Vegas and like woo, or I don't know, not really Las Vegas. I wouldn't want to go there. I don't have any money to spend.
Vegas isn't that far away from me, so.
No, for me it's a little bit. I mean, I could probably get there for like I can hop on a flight tomorrow and be there in like 4 or 5 hours, however long it is. Yeah, I mean, people on the plane might be mad at me doing a live podcast, like, hey, everybody, they're like, shut up, throwing peanuts at me that they spent $6 for.
I don't think they would mind a whole lot.
No, like, hey, this is the Between a Sky and a Hard Place. I don't know. It's been fun, and like I said earlier in the show, this Sunday we're having our discussion of what we see coming and what we hope is coming from season 2 of
Superman and Lois. Yeah,
and hopefully, I've been trying to get in touch with Jordan Elsass again to see if he could join in at some point soon to talk about the new season. But I know he's very busy; he hasn't responded yet, which is totally understandable. Still waiting to hear back from the assistant to Eric Wallace about talking about the Flash. So that those 2 things are going on, and a few other names that we've discussed about having on here, and then just misconnections, not hearing back from each other. But it's been going through the holidays, New Year, and everything's kind of hectic for a lot of people. So hopefully by the middle of the month and then towards the beginning of February, things will settle and we'll have more things coming up to talk about. But in the meantime, you can always hear us talk about all this stuff.
I've got to say, I'm just excited for a new year and new possibilities.
Yeah. Maybe this is the year that maybe, I don't know, Sirius buys us, or maybe Joe Rogan wants to buy us. Or
you never know. You never know.
Who knows? And Joe Rogan is here with us. Hey, Joe. No. I've made that joke every time, and every time it's not funny. This guy's
until that one time when Joe Rogan actually shows up.
Yeah, that one guy. It's like the reverse of The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's like, but the reverse of it. It's like, oh, something good is happening. Something good is happening. No, it's not. It'll never happen. Hello, I'm Joe Rogan, or whoever. I was gonna say Betty White, but sadly that can't happen. That would have been cool though, right? She's like, hello, and then popped up, and I'm like, hey.
Well, I had heard that there had been at least one time where people had spread around that she was dead when she wasn't.
That's what I thought this time too, but apparently this one is, I think it's stuck this time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Unless it's all a big cover up that she planned so that she could go live like on an island in Fiji or something with a bucket of Legos next year, like, like breaking the law. I don't know. Probably not the case, but we can hope. Thank you everybody for staying on, watching, even though I make these terrible jokes, and for listening to us talk.
You haven't driven me off yet, Steven.
Thank you for not leaving when we have motion sickness. Woo!
Oh,
I just had to do that one more time. I'm so fascinated by that. So next time when we have a guest, we could put them on top, and we could be on the bottom. We can. I didn't know I could do that. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm like a kid or a raccoon or something. I'm like, ooh, shiny.
Squirrel.
Yeah, where?
Yeah.
Well, not actually a squirrel. Oh, dang. But yeah, it's been fun. I can't wait to talk about Superman and Lois again. We haven't talked about that in a long time. It feels like 8 years ago that we talked about that show. She didn't want to pay taxes this year. I mean, why pay taxes when you can live on Fiji and buy a bucket of Legos? I mean, that would be how I would want to spend my 100th birthday. Just saying. It's like drinking little mojitos or something. I'm like, I'm building a house. Why not? Where was I going? Oh yeah, Superman and Lois next time, this Sunday on this channel, on YouTube or on this Facebook page,
and more Daredevil if we.
Yeah, well, hopefully, more Daredevil. Maybe we can start a little early that day. Or go a little bit longer. Yeah, get out of our show. We got to talk about Daredevil, and push them out the door. No, we don't want to do that, but maybe they want to talk about Daredevil.
Yeah.
We'll see. And if not, then we can, the week after or whenever, again, we can talk about more Daredevil if we'll figure it out. It'll all work out. It'll be good. That'll give me time to watch more Daredevil too. Because
there you go.
Wasting my time writing and instead of just sitting on the couch and watching.
How dare you, Steven? How dare you be productive and do something, as opposed to vegetating?
It would be different if the writing were actually good, but we'll see what happens with it.
I know this is not necessarily the focus of our podcast, but I'm going to tell you, you have no idea how much garbage I wrote before I ever wrote anything good. And I think that's just a part of the process.
Oh yeah, so that just confirms everything I've written is garbage. No, I know what you're saying. You're not going to write the best thing ever.
I know, but I'm just trying to validate you and what you're doing.
Right. I mean, I guess anything you do is important to what you want to do. Like, just because it may not be the best thing ever the first try, you learn from it and you build towards.
And it gets you to the next one.
Yeah, which I do think this next one is probably a little bit better overall because I actually have a structure. Like I showed everybody earlier, I have a map and detailed structure of where it's going instead of just going, oh yeah.
Follow the napkin, Steven.
Yeah. And then I actually just copied it from a chart I saw online because I was like Googling 3-act structure for film. And I knew about it already. And I actually have a filmmaking textbook from when I had a filmmaking class. I don't know why I just pull that out and read it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the structure for your script. I'm like, that's the plot of Endgame.
I think basically. I mean, now I'm reading it. I'm like, well, sort of, yeah. I mean, maybe subconsciously I'm writing Endgame. But we'll see what happens with it. I'm sure I'll tweak and change that one too. but it won't take me 3 years to do this one.
Good.
Like I did the last one. I think the last one took 3 years because I wasn't planning on writing I was planning on writing a full movie, but I had no idea where it was going. So that movie changed 20 times before I even got 20 pages done.
Yeah. My first book took me 6 years to write.
I win. Yatta!
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It's not really a comment because you've actually published things and I have not. So talk about yatta.
Yeah. What's stopping you though?
A rich guy buying it from me? No, I don't know. Nothing really. I can film. I can do whatever.
I don't know what your New Year's resolutions are here this year, but I would say one of them needs to be to go and submit your manuscript.
I need to do something. Yeah. I'm still waiting to talk to Jay and Todd again about the second draft because they haven't gotten back to me on it. I've talked to them since finishing it back in May. I think it was. I finished that second draft, but still, I mean, I'm waiting on them. They stay pretty busy, so it is what it is. But I think it's a good time to wrap up here.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard. My wife just called me to dinner, so
I did not. But that's a good reason to go.
Definitely good reason.
All right. So have a good week. Have a good dinner. And everybody, thank you for coming in this week. Be sure to like us, follow us, subscribe on YouTube. Do that right now or else we won't do anything about it because that would be illegal.
No retribution.
But yeah, no mercy.
Yeah. Strike hard.
Yeah, click first, click hard, no mercy.
Yeah.
That should be our new motto. But thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at our normal night this Sunday at 8:30 Eastern and 5:30 Pacific here on Facebook and YouTube. Come check it out. Yay. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
All right. Adios.
See you later. Oh, where's my little show outro? There it is. Okay. Bye, everybody.